Hello lads and welcome to another video on this channel. Today we're going to be talking about what we're going to be doing in the next 4 weeks leading up to our A-levels. Depending on what subjects you're doing, around this time next month in May, you're going to start your exams. My first full exam is on the 26th of May. My history Russia paper is coming up first. But before that, since I do Spanish, I actually have a Spanish speaking on the 10th. I know you guys might be very interested in listening to my journey and how I'm going to be preparing and also how I'm going to be finding motivation. And hopefully these tips will be helpful for you. So in this video, we're going to be talking about getting into the right mindset, having your target in mind, finding that motivation, and really how you can nail down a schedule, a good way to approach making a schedule, and finally the plan and things surrounding that. So if you're interested in that, then make sure you watch till the end. And of course, I have timestamps throughout this video where you can go check it out. So let us start off immediately with getting into the mindset. And this is something which I think is perhaps a bit more easy in A-levels than in IGCSEs. At least I felt this was way easier when I'm doing my A-levels. And the same thing goes with my friends who do IB in Hong Kong. They're saying, well, when I was doing smaller qualifications, yes, it's nice, but the long-term idea, the long-term effects of this doesn't sound too much. But now it really sets in. These are going to determine your future choices. These are going to determine your universities and hence what you're going to be doing for the next 3 years. Whether we like it or not, we know that what we're going to do, especially if you're applying to UK, this doesn't apply to Warren who got to Harvard. However, if you apply to UK, by now you're getting your offers back. I've gotten my offers back a while ago. So a lot of people have gotten their offers back. You know what conditions you have to meet to get into the university of your dreams. And that is what we have in mind. And there's a thing in football which is called the big game mentality. It's when you get into a big game, you get into a big occasion, you start feeling it and you enjoy it. You settle into it. And a motivational speaker once talked about this and said, okay, you ask your athletes, you ask these professionals, they're going into the competition. You ask them, are you nervous? And they're like, no, I'm excited. Well, what's the difference between your feeling of nervousness and your feeling of excitement? Both of the times, your heart starts to pump. You start to get goosebumps maybe, you feel the occasion. And I'm not saying you should be excited for exams, but at the same time there's a point where you want to say, well, extra nerves will not do you well. Learn to love that nerves, learn to know that those nerves are there to help you get into that mindset. Understand that yes, there's a lot of things on it, but at the same time you can use these nerves, you can use this adrenaline to really push your revision. You can use this adrenaline to really work hard and push further to get the grades that you want and you need. Get into that mindset first, and I think that that will do a load of good. And this ties directly into the idea of motivation, right? You look at the idea of, well, I need to work hard. What do you need? Well, you have a goal in mind. You have an offer in mind. You have a direction, and you have a target. And that's something which is so helpful. Because one of the reasons why, when I'm talking to a lot of IGCSE friends and stuff like that, they're saying, yes, a lot of things depend on my IGCSE exams. A lot of things depend on these exams, but they don't really have a target because they're not necessarily having a university. Yes, it's nice to get 9s or whatever your how many tests you're doing, but at the end of the day, you're feeling, well, yes, I might lose out on maybe 1 9 and get an 8 or a 7 here or there, but it's not necessarily going to affect my university chances, are they? So in that sense, you're saying, well, the motivation there isn't as strong, but now we have the goal. You have your offer from Bath, you have your offer from Durham. I luckily have an offer from Oxford, right? And I'm like, well, I need to get these 3 A's and this might come back around and bite me. So I need to work and get into the mindset to get that done. I have my target and I know what that costs. I know what it means to me. I want to go to Oxford. I need this university. I want this university place. And this is not to say, oh, let's revolve your entire life around your offers. No, that's not the case. I don't think that your university determines, oh, you get into Oxford or you get into Durham or you get into Columbia or Harvard or whatever, right? And you get into there, and if you fail, then that's it, right? That's definitely not what I'm saying, and I think that there's way more to life, and the human experience said that. But at the same time, you have to look at the situation and say, well, yes, these things are tough, these things are difficult, but we have to put that end in sight. We have to say, well, these are the things that we must achieve, and those are the things that you work towards, and that is what my motivation is. I'm like, Oxford, that's my motivation. I want to get into Oxford. I want to get these A's. I want to get these grades. And it doesn't matter what your offer is, right? Maybe you got into LSE or Imperial, it's an A. Then put that as your goal and say, well, I have a clear end in sight. I have a target that I must reach up to. And that is something which is very helpful. And now let us talk a bit about the schedule. And I think it really depends on the subjects that you're doing. I do Spanish, math, history, and philosophy and religious studies or religious studies. I have my first exam on the 26th, history paper on Russia. Then after that, I have 2 weeks of rest. Then I have Spanish and math on the same day on the 7th, philosophy and religious studies, paper 1 on the 9th, then history China on the 10th, math pure on the 14th, Spanish on the 17th, dialogues, PRS, and then math stats on 21st, and then history Britain on the 22nd, and that's done. That's my schedule. You always should make a schedule and just have a calendar like this where you have the notes on what days you are so you can kind of visualize. And something like this is very, very helpful because then you can look at this and say, well, all right, there's 1 week here, I have these exams, and you can write, okay, this day I'm doing this day I'm doing that. And one of the things when you're planning and you're making a schedule, one of the most important things is not to be too precise. You want to be precise in what you're doing, but at the same time, you can't say, well, all right, by this day, I want to have finished this single equation I want to get. You don't want to make it too precise. Yes, it's important to kind of set an average deadline, keep that in your mind, but at the same time, we all know this. Revision doesn't really go as planned. It never really goes as planned. Sometimes you do go through a topic and it takes way longer than you expected. Or maybe you go to another topic and it takes way easier than you expected. Then you have extra time. Well, that's why I just have, if you see here on my things, I just say Friday I'm doing Spanish, Saturday I'm doing Spanish, or Monday I'm doing math, Sunday I'm doing math. I'm not very specific in these studies because although I know the topics, the concepts that I have to revise, that is a very broad understanding and a very vague understanding, which I am willing to kind of allow myself some leeway. And that might be different for you. You might have a different style. You might have a different approach. But I do think that having a bit less of a strictly structured schedule can be beneficial at times. And then finally, you want to understand what subjects you're doing. I do math, and I know that my study for math isn't very good in a long-term memory. I cannot long-term memory recall formulas and those stuff. I cannot give you a trig identities in a long-term memory recall. I have to cram it. I have to do short-term memory for that. So then I know then, well, okay, what's my revision schedule going to be? I have Spanish and math on the same day on the 7th. What am I going to do? Math, all right, I will study that 3 days before and really cram that. Spanish, it's a long-term memory thing, so I'll study that a month before and then focus slowly throughout the days and then work on that instead. So you notice that each single subject, you have to approach it in a different perspective because you're not going to be able to study math, Spanish, chemistry, physics, whatever you're doing in the exact same way. The way that you're going to remember math, physics equations the best, it's going to be very different from the way that you memorize history statistics the best, right? So you want to personalize your study schedule and the mode of which you're studying to yourself and to your individual, and that's really how you plan your studies. I hope you found this video helpful. Of course, if you enjoy this content, make sure to like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me and it really helps this channel grow. If you have any questions, agree with anything, then let me know in the comments below. I will try my best to reach out and respond to every single one of you there. If you want more uni content or revision guides or whatever you want, then also make sure to subscribe because me and my friend Warren, who got into Harvard, will indeed be making those videos for you on this channel weekly, so you don't want to miss out on any of that. Stay safe, my friends. See you soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next one. Have a great one, my friends.